Sign designs in Lincoln. Our communities thrive thanks to small businesses. That's why I'm pleased to be the exclusive sponsor of the WHOW WEZC Lincoln Printers Business of the Month.
Jason Reynolds owns and operates Jason's Lawn Service, providing Clinton and surrounding area lawn care and landscaping for businesses and residences. They care about the details. Stop by their location on US Route 51 or find them online at jasonslawn.com. They'll receive a $200 gift certificate good at Lincoln Printers and Sign Designs for being our WHOW WEZC Lincoln Printers Business of the Month. Nominate a business you'd like featured by emailing us at whow@randyradio.com.
Lincoln Printers and Sign Designs salute this local business for helping make the community grow. And when it comes to envelopes, wedding invitations, signs, banners, vinyl wraps, and more, find us online at lincolnprintersinc.com.
Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the morning show, Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum and C.H. Moore Homestead, on the phone with us. Hey, good Friday, Joey. How are you today?
I'm great today, and happy Friday to everyone out there listening.
Thanks for making time for us as always, Joey. And, I bet you've just got a lot of time for us today these days, Joey. I was telling you before the break, before we got on, I don't know what we're going to talk about today. Like, I'm sure you're just in on cloud nine. Things are going so well. It's relaxing. You've just got the next several weekends free. I'll bet you're just living it up right now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild and crazy, but we certainly enjoy it all.
Apple and Pork Weekend, of course, all of that tongue-in-cheek. Apple and Pork Weekend next weekend, Joey. Biggest weekend of the year for the homestead. Could be said the biggest weekend of the year for the community as well. You looking forward to Apple and Pork Weekend? Looks like the weather's going to be great. I'm excited about it. What do you think, Joey?
I am looking forward to it, and yes, the weather forecast is going to be absolutely perfect.
Once again, we came off a banner year in 2021 and looks like more of the same for 2022. Joey, let's remind folks, we, like I mentioned before we got started, we have this conversation on an annual basis, but it's a story worth telling because the Apple and Pork Festival is a long-standing tradition in Central Illinois. It brings people from all over the state in for a couple of days. We exponentially grow our community for a few hours on Saturday and Sunday. So how about the Apple and Pork Festival? What's the history of this event?
Well, it is a major event now, and it's known all across the state and beyond, but it has very humble beginnings. So when the DeWitt County Museum Association took on the big C.H. Moore house, they needed to restore it. And restoration, of course, takes money. So they needed to come up with a way to raise some funds to accomplish their goals. So someone had the idea, let's do food. Let's do a food fundraiser. So the Apple and Pork Festival actually started with one kettle of soup out on the front lawn, cooked over a fire, and one stack of sandwiches. And from there, it has grown to over 25 food booths, huge flea market, attractions, and many other things. And we expect each year an average of 80,000 seems to be the average attendance each year. Last year, I think, what was it, Seth? Was it around 120 that they were estimating it at?
Oh boy, you're putting me on the spot with that one. But it was like 105 to 115. Boy, but it might have been 120, Joey. I don't even remember now that you asked me.
Yeah, so it was huge. So it's just such a nice example of a grassroots effort and people coming together, trying to accomplish a good thing, and then being supported by the community, as far as them coming out, and getting their bowl of soup and their sandwich, and then it's just grown and grown and grown. So each year the museum would have a festival, and then they would take that money and restore a room. So have a festival, restore a room. have a festival, restore a room. It took 20 years to get to the point where the entire house was restored. So 20 festivals. And now it's more like, have a festival, fix the hole in the roof. Have a festival, paint the carriage barn. So, it still serves the same purpose. The festival allows the museum people to be able to continue to take care of the buildings, take care of the grounds, care for the collections, provide other special events and educational opportunities. And I guess in my opinion, the most important mission is to serve as the place where the county's keepsakes are kept.
Joey, as you were talking there, I got to wondering, I don't know if we've ever kind of done a deep dive on the history of the festival in terms of, you talk about have a festival, fix a room, have a festival, fix a room, 20 years, that was accomplished. Was there, like, I'm kind of curious, and I don't know how much of the history in terms of like a year to year to year, deep dive you've done or anything of that nature, but was there like when did the festival itself start to grow where we saw, groups come out to be a part of these and, their pros or their profits, part of those went to the museum, and like when did this festival really start to take off? I don't know if you know that or not. Like what's kind of some of the, more specific history on how did this festival grow and those sorts of things?
Well, how can I best answer that? It kind of grew with me. This is the 54th annual Apple and Fork Festival. And so it actually started a year before I was born. So I can't say that I was there from the very beginning to see how it grew. I can say that I remember as a child, I remember being there. I remember part of the festival just, basically being a small flea market with, some people set up with card tables and whatnot. But I can remember, early on, I can also remember it, seeming to be as big or almost as big as it is now. I remember my favorite thing to get when I was little was they would serve hot apple butter on a thick slab of bread. That was always favorite thing to get. Oh, it was so good. But yes, it has grown and grown. I can't say exactly when it took off, but from what I'm told, it seems that, it was something that took off pretty quickly. And during the time that the Museum Association took on the restoration of the house to serve as the museum, and about the time that, the festival was established, if you look at what was going on in other places, it seems that there was a movement, not just here in DeWitt County, but all across the country at that point in time. People looking back and realizing as they looked forward that we need to save these old landmarks. People coming together to establish museums, to save old houses. And there seemed to also be great interest in establishing festivals and events like ours to be able to accomplish these goals. I'm happy to say that, this is the 54th Apple and Fork Festival, that, this festival has been, here for more than 5 decades, going, keeps growing, and continues to be strong. Whereas, unfortunately, there are a lot of festivals that just didn't have that longevity. So,
well, and with the longevity of the event, again, our guest on the phone today, Joey Long, is the executive director of the DeWitt County Museum and C.H. Moore Homestead. It's impressive that it has maintained the course, especially, Joey, when you think about the fact that it, we don't serve alcohol. There's not, like a carnival per se with rides and, the carnival-y entertainment, those sorts of things. It's kind of a throwback type of style still, maintains that grassroots tradition that it's upheld. It really hasn't changed significantly over the years. Why do you think that is, Joey? What has has maintained that tradition for the Apple and Pork Festival, you think?
Well, really the entire concept of the museum and the festival is honoring the past and seeing what is charming or appealing about the past. And so, over the 54 years, maybe the festival has continued to grow and improve, but the basic foundation has not changed that much. You have always had the DeWitt County Board of Directors that's in charge of organizing the festival and planning it out. They too have a great deal of respect for, tradition and, just tradition and looking back at the old ways. So yes, when people call and ask about the festival, I do tell them, you're not going to find a corn dog here. You're not going to find a bounce house here. We have old-fashioned foods, like the kettle-cooked ham and beans and the smoked ham sandwiches that we smoke right there on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
As far as attractions, something old-fashioned like, the pony rides for the kids and things like that. So I believe that sticking with the tradition, people see that and people appreciate that. And I just think that when you step on the grounds and you see them, cooking the ham and beans, in a big old butcher kettle out on the grounds over an open fire, and you see the hands at work preparing the ham sandwiches, and you walk by and you smell the smokehouse. I think people appreciate that. It's taking them back in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's one of the things that people find appealing about the festival, one of the things that makes us unique, and one of the keys to our success.
A lot of open fires, the Apple and Pork weekend on the grounds of the homestead as well. It's definitely. Joey, I'll tell you what, we've really done a good deep dive of the history of the festival. Let's take a time out and let's come back and dive into specifically this year's festival. We'll talk entertainment, we'll talk food, we'll talk all of that. But in the meantime, where do folks go to learn about all things Apple and Pork weekend?
Well, we do have an Apple and Pork Festival Facebook page. You would want to look for the trademark logo with the little pig and the apple tree. You can find that on Facebook. You can also go online and visit the museum's website. That's www.chmorehomestead.org, or you're welcome to give us a call at the museum anytime. Phone number is 217-935-6066.
Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead, my guest on the phone. More to come on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
For the latest in Central Illinois agricultural news, visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com. Get updated information on markets, weather, ag news, local interviews with NAFB farm broadcaster Jared White, and much, much more. All at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Hear Clinton Maroon live play-by-play this season on WHOW, the big 1520 daytime, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and 106.5 in Bloomington Normal all the time. Plus, streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com on the WHOW mobile app. Plus, hear a best of Clinton sports broadcast Saturday mornings at 10. All brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick, Clinton Community YMCA, Covenant Animal Clinic, and Jason France, your State Farm insurance agent in Clinton.
Central Illinois' leading online source for local news, police blotter, for the record information, obituaries, and more is DeWittDailyNews.com. Since 2008, DeWittDailyNews.com has delivered fresh, online content to internet readers, from the City Council to School Board to the County Board and more. DeWittDailyNews.com covers the local news you expect from the area's #1 local news source, and it's all absolutely free. Now you have even more ways to access DeWittDailyNews.com. Whether you're at your desktop, laptop, tablet, iPhone, or smartphone, DeWittDailyNews.com is delivered to all those platforms. That's right. It's even there on your iPhone and smartphone. The same local news, weather, and sports that's on the full-size edition is on your iPhone and smartphone just by going to DeWittDailyNews.com. If you haven't tried it, why don't you? Go to Central Illinois' leading online source for local news, police blotter, for the record information, obituaries, and more on your desktop, laptop, iPhone, or smartphone, DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on this segment of the show, Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum and C.H. Moore Homestead. Joey, Apple and Pork Weekend 2022 comes up September 20. I want to make sure I get this right. 24 and 25, of course. That is next weekend. And Joey, as we chat here for this morning, tell us about Apple and Pork Festival 2022.
Well, 2022 is going to be a great year. As we talked about, the weather is going to be fantastic. The flea market is filling up like crazy, so we'll have a lot of vendors out there. And we have a lot of other things to look forward to. So we'll have over 25 Apple and Pork food booths. We will have free live musical entertainment thanks to our friends at Constellation and the First National Bank of Clinton. We'll have the crafter tent and the carriage barn offering unique handcrafted items. We will have the antique tractor show, the farm machinery exhibits and demonstrations, blacksmith demonstrations, and 19th century crafters out doing their thing, the pony ride, living history interpreters, including Abraham Lincoln, the juried art show, and much, much more.
We look forward to it. So entertainment, always a big part of the festival. You know, it's one of those things, Joey, like you get the music right there kind of in the center of everything, but it never really overpowers the festival. And that's what I enjoy about it. It's just kind of nice ambience to the atmosphere, if you will.
Yeah, the sound people really do a nice job of hitting that perfect medium so that, the audience can sit and enjoy the music, but, it doesn't overpower. You can still have a conversation with your friends and enjoy the music in the background if you like. So, yeah, it's really good. I think this year the lineup has changed a little bit, and you'll be seeing a few more local people on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be good to see. And, we're just looking forward to that. And we're happy that, we can provide that musical entertainment for everyone, for free. I would also mention that there is no admission to the festival. There is no admission to the huge flea market. So it's very family budget friendly. There is a small admission fee to tour the museum. That would be $5 for adults, $2 for kids ages 12 to 18. And everyone aged 11 and under is free to tour the museum.
I would guess, Joey, you're going to have a lot of interest in the tours this year because, if I remember right, we couldn't do tours last year, correct?
Right. And I have had a lot of phone calls in the last month or so. In fact, I had a lady call yesterday from St. Louis. And she wanted to make sure that the house would be open because they were going to come for the festival this year. But the main thing that they wanted to see was the house. And so here again, you and I, Seth, had this conversation a few months back. I think in June, we had to close the doors to the house. We just didn't have enough volunteers to be able to have the house open and operate all the museum food booths. So we had to shift people over, and they were kind enough to help us out that way. So you and I had talked about sometimes people just think, well, that historic site is there. I'll get to it sometime. But now people are realizing, maybe you will lose the opportunity as far as, the historic sites closing down or whatnot. So I do think that perhaps last year not having the doors open, as unfortunate as that was, may actually boost the number of people who come to tour the house this year, since they didn't have the opportunity last year. It's on their minds, and so they want to make a point to be sure and come and tour the house this year.
Have you, Joey, found that you're getting the volunteers you need for this year? You mentioned that was the big push last year. I remember you had a call for volunteers not that long ago with us on this show. How about the volunteership that you're seeing? Are people stepping up and meeting the call for that?
We do have volunteers. We have wonderful volunteers, and we are so grateful for our volunteers. We can't do this alone. And people have really stepped up. But of course, we can always use more volunteers. And if anyone out there is listening and is thinking, hey, this might be something that, I might be interested in, we would love to hear from you. It's not too late to do that for this year. We have openings in a variety of positions. House docents would welcome guests into the mansion and serve as guides. Doorkeepers collect the house tour admission. They tally the attendance and they oversee the guest register. Food stand volunteers, we can always use those. They would help with the preparation and the serving of the food. Or for those who may not be interested in the preparation of food, we also have the apple butter barn, which sells a prepackaged product. Anyone who would be interested in maybe learning about the old-fashioned process of meal grinding, they would welcome help down there in that area. So we have many options available, many shifts available. So if anyone out there would like to get involved, just give us a call and we'd be happy to find an activity that matches your interest.
Joey, I really don't like to say this. We are quickly running out of time. I have 1 minute left with you. What have I not mentioned about this year's Apple and Pork Festival you want to make sure we know?
Well, let's just make sure that everyone knows how much we appreciate our volunteers, how much we appreciate the community embracing this festival, how much we appreciate all of our visitors, and how much we appreciate people like you who help us get the word out to everyone.
Joey, I can't wait to see you at the Apple and Pork Festival this year, and I bought you an apple cider float a couple years ago. I want to do that again if that's all right.
I want you to do that again, too.
Let's plan on it. Last thing on Sunday. Joey, where do folks go to follow along all things Apple and Pork Weekend?
The best place with the most up-to-date information would be the Apple and Pork Festival Facebook page. Look for that official trademark Apple and Pork Festival logo with the pig and the apple tree. You can also go to our website for the museum. It's www.chmorehomestead.org. or give us a call at the museum. It's 217-935-6066.
Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum, our guest on the phone. Network News is next.
With SRN News.